What's up, homies? So that's the Scalpel V4 without the serrations, of course. The serration thing is pretty new. I'm still testing that, but I think it's amazing. It actually works really well. I'm not that big of a serration guy, but it works super well on these scalpels. So it just makes so much sense. You can carve into what I like about it especially is that you can score. See, I've been sawing things. I've been sawing these thick branches 90 degrees with the serrations on this blade. It works really great for that. So, if you need to score something on wood, it's really quite a effective way of doing that. And you can maybe... I'm trying to do this without hurting myself. I don't know if you saw, there's a lot of blood on the floor. And my thumb and finger are skewered. That was all from this morning. I jabbed the blade straight into my nail, under my nail. It was pretty nasty. And it wasn't like a bad cut. It was a pretty small cut, actually. But it was like very deep, and the blood came pouring out. You could feel it, like ooh, like it was just like a water bottle. It had been popped, like you stabbed the bottle. It just came like just flowing out, just uncontrollably, the blood. So, but yeah, it's very difficult now. And it's so small, this piece of wood. I don't want to hurt myself, but we can see we're getting pretty deep. It's quite a large branch, but when it comes to like actual like bushcrafting and just casual carving stuff and having like a knife around to do things, this is actually really super useful kind of element to have added to the not sure if it's having trouble focusing here. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. To zoom in, I guess. So we're pretty deep. Of course, what happens is that the thickness of the blade, eventually, you see, so you're gonna have to. But I did it earlier in like less than 30 seconds on another branch, but it's a bit more dangerous and difficult over the camera here like this. I don't want to hurt myself, of course. See, we're like right at the middle there. Let's see. I think here's a good spot there. Still a lot of material. It's much faster when you do it like kind of deliberately, but I'm just gonna pop it off because see, we got pretty close to the middle. I was having trouble going deeper because, of course, as the spine gets thicker and the hole is quite small, eventually kind of blocks its way in, but it's not a big deal. There's ways around that. And but if you think about it from a bushcraft perspective, this is actually pretty useful little wooden plug that you can use as like for joining and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know how often you need to do that, but if you want to clean this up, now you have a little plug and stuff like that. So, very, very, very nice. And you see, because only part of the blade is serrated, you can still use the front for most of your regular things, right? If you want to just carve away. You know, if you want to whittle the wood to make fire, you can still very easily with the front here. The serrations are done using a chainsaw file. See how it just cuts really nicely. So it's quite easy to actually sharpen yourself. Just get a chainsaw file and push your way through. This was more of a, I put the serrations on this particular blade was actually a bit of a reject from earlier, so I just picked it up and put the serrations on this one. Gave it sort of a new life. Really nice edge. But the polish was a bit off. This is more like what the finished real product looks like. Very, very nice. And the handles are now epoxy G-Flex coated, so I won't use one of the ones that are available for sale. I'm gonna go and grab that one. So still, like, they're both extremely useful. Some people like serrations, some people don't. But I think on this particular knife design, even people who hate serrations might actually like it, because it works so well with the blade size and the geometry and the handle length and everything. It's pretty interesting. Just such a wonderful little blade. You can easily skin a whole deer with one of these. We've done it a couple times. Oh, lots of dirt here now on the table. This is the V5s. A bit grummy, this one. You still see some of the belt marks because I made this one several months ago, and I didn't want to start selling the V5s as a ready thing yet until I've discovered exactly what type of handle that I like. This one is the first one that was actually fully finished, and you can see very nice, very clean, got a mirror polish, and it feels amazing in the hand. So this one has a really good grip. Somebody just bought this one though, so you guys can't have that. But the next one I'm gonna make, I'm thinking of using these. It's gonna be like super spectacular. That's gonna be really, really intense. I have a lot of, so these are the more rare. So the next few scalpels will be made from these materials. This one I think I'll keep because I don't think I'm actually going to get any pattern in that. I don't know about this one either, but maybe I'll just do one and whatever, you know. I picked this one because it reminded me of my kindergarten class when I was in France, like early 90s or mid 90s, I guess. And there was just something about the colors and the way the shapes are that kind of reminded me a little bit of some of that, I don't know, kindergarten vibes. I don't know. This one's by far my favorite, this one. So, and I think I'm not going to bother so much with the Scandi grind. I'm going to do them all hollow. So much like a more finished version of this particular one. Because at the end of the day, I see myself basically always carrying this one. I like the Scandi grind, but I reserve that mostly for fire making. And this one is excellent at fire making still. This is what I use, right? I buckle this on my belt, and then this one just sits there. And then if I want to go to the store or something, I just slip it in this one, slip it in my pocket, and then this just hangs out of my pocket like that. Or an inside the waistband is also, you can see here, it's quite a neat mechanism. I like the green one. I think the green one's sick. It actually works quite well, I think, on the yellow, if I remember. It's kind of nice and colorful. But it works really good here. I'd like to put some serrations on this one, but I already have here on this one, so I can use these two to compare mostly like the performance of the two different edges. Because if I put serrations on this one, it's just going to give me the exact same sort of results. Like it's not going to really change like the results that I'm getting with this. Albeit the blade is a bit taller on this one, so it might be thinner behind the edge, so we might get better cutting or deeper cutting, but whatever. So I'm very psyched about these. I'm going to start making them next week. Now that I've kind of figured out how to do it all, you can see with this one how much nicer everything fits together. You see how this is kind of crummy. You see how one side is more compressed than the other, and here it's like the liner is a bit fucked, and here it's like just perfect. So I love the white as well. I need to go and brush this up a little bit and put some life into it, because there still needs to be a little bit of thinning down somewhere around here. But excellent, wonderful little blade. I just adore this. I use it so much for everything. And now I've been using this nonstop for several days. Those serrations have come in so useful for just this sort of garden environment. This ranch environment, this sort of country environment. It just works so freaking well, the serrations. Oh, look how nice that cuts. Look at that. Nice. Mind you, I haven't sharpened these knives in months, and I use them all the time, almost every day, so the edge retention is good on this steel. I really like it. 13C26 something? I don't remember. I had them hardened to 60 Rockwell hardness. Oh, look at that. See, it's nice. It's a very nice cutter. Both of them, all of them, they're really good. I can even show you here a little bit of that viciousness from the Scandi grind. You see how it just melts through the wood. That's the beauty of the Scandi grind. It's just a really mean cannon against wood. It's your main battle tank against carving wood. But yeah, you need to be like an amazing knife sharpener. You really need to know your stuff. You see how nice that cuts? It's like a chisel right across. It's beautiful. It's because you can rest that bevel straight on the side and still get a decent cut, you know? Whereas with these, you got to be a bit more careful. You have to aim that edge in there. You kind of have to follow that edge yourself. Right there. It's tough spot, this one. Ugh. Man, that's sick. I like that a lot. I'd love to do the Scandi grinds more, but it's on a flat platen, and flat platens are not very accurate or flat or consistent. So in order for me to get these nice clean lines, I have to finish it all up on diamond stones to line up everything and make sure everything is true. And it's just so much extra work. So I'm going to try and figure something else out for the Scandi grinds. But for now, I'm just going to stick to this one, the hollow grind, because I can get that to a very high degree of polish. And I'd like to be able to mirror polish all of these, the ones that have these scales, because they're going to be more expensive. They're going to be much more traditional custom handmade style knife. So I'm going to get the polish all the way up to maximum grit and then get a nice mirror on there if I can. Well, I'll see. For now, it'll be satin, but eventually it'll be mirror. And this is a satin finish, but it's a pretty low grit satin finish. Compared to these, which is a bit higher grit satin finish, a bit cleaner, a bit nicer, you see. Put a lot of effort into these. It's a lot of work that goes into these. So, I'd say this is my favorite EDC knife. One of the best EDC knives, definitely out there. And it's mainly because the blade is short and the handle is long, and it's quite a light overall, full steel, full tang profile that you can really rely on. It's quite a stiff construction. It's quite a reliable construction. And unique in many, many ways. And personally, like for me, I'm always carrying some type of scalpels, and all the other knives I carry, other than this one. But for example, this one, I carry this one because it's cool as fuck, right? And it's got serrations. So I've been, using this knife to teach me about serrations. And I love this knife. It's freaking cool. And those serrations come in handy out here. I'm not a big fan of serrations, like I said, but you learn to appreciate them. You learn to kind of like how to use them and stuff. And, you can still carve wood totally normally with this knife. See how they're on a different, the serrations are on the opposite side, but you see you can still basically carve. See, it's still like going straight into the wood and actually removing metal like it were a straight edge, you see. So you can still use a serrated knife, much like a straight-edged blade. It's really, it depends a lot on the design of serrations, and I still haven't decided whether I prefer cold steels or Spyderco serrations. Now, the nice thing with Spyderco serrations is that they're more versatile for EDC, like in a city, but for cold steel, their serrations are more versatile for like a heavy-duty environment, like woods, not as city friendly as not as city friendly, let's just say, as the Spyderco serration. So if you're looking for serrations that are kind of like city, if you live in the city, you might want to look for the Spyderco serrations. And if you do a lot of out country back kind of shit, then maybe these serrations are better for you. But even so I had this knife for maybe a year, maybe a little longer, and I got it because I fucking think it's the really, really sick and cool, and to learn some serration stuff. Now, funny enough is, despite this has serrations, I didn't really use this blade all that much for its serrations. The funny thing is, now that I have this one, I'm using this all the time for the serrations, because of the serrations. So it's strange that it really, like, whether or not the serrations are useful for your EDC really comes down a lot to the design of the knife. And on this particular design, it works really well for me, and I actually really like those serrations. But that's not the case with any other knife, really. So, and here, this is the other knife that I basically EDC everywhere. This is I think this is the most favorite knife I've ever made, to be honest. I really, really, really love this one. It just sits perfectly in the hand. The balance is like right there. See? It's like right there. It's just such a sick blade. I hope I didn't just kink the edge. So this is really like the main driver for most things, and that's like because we live in the countryside. This is like the maximum size you really need for an everyday fixed blade. And then anything bigger than this is because you're going to go chop some stuff. But you can still kind of chop with this. You put a lanyard on there or baton and whatever. But I like this kind of saber style handle. Very, very nice. I love the guard. Everything about this knife I love. I've fallen in love with this one so much. So on an everyday kind of, I'm carrying this, and I'm carrying this for now. And I used to carry that one, and this one as well. That's like an early prototype. You can see it's kind of crummy. Like, I just made it quick to test stuff out, Yeah, so the scalpels available on my website. They come with a lanyard. Great EDC. Unfortunately for American citizens, now the shipping, because of the tariffs, have gone up to like $150 fucking dollars. So I don't know how I'm going to anymore deal with American customers and how do I ship to America. But Canadian customers can still buy them, and Japanese customers and European customers and everybody else. So yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited about these serrations. I'm definitely going to throw it up there as like an option on some of these blades. It's not too risky to do either. The serrations, I'm actually doing a pretty decent job with them. Here's another one that has serrations, purple, just sold. So, I think, is this the black one? Yeah, this one's really beautiful. Look at that. Really, really beautiful. It's gonna be a really nice one. Or I think this one actually just sold as well. I need to remember which sheath it had. All the sheaths are interchangeable, but each one in its final stage has like a final molding process. So they're all interchangeable, but there's like one or two that are better fitting, so to speak. Slightly better fitting. So that's kind of like the idea I'm going for. Really high satin finish, nice edge, full hollow grind, simple epoxy stabilized G-resin, whatever it was called, handle. Whew. These are very easy to clean. You just brush it up with soap and some water.